Hey everybody, haven't posted a battle report in a while. Thought I'd just get something on my Facebook, my YouTube channel, and so I figured just do a vlog here. As you can see, I got some miniatures here that I'm painting. I'm doing these as a commission. I think these are 30K style 30K style guard Astra Militarum, I guess, something like that. I'll be periodically looking at my camera here to see if I'm in focus. Not that you can really see much with these little guys. Can I zoom in? No, can't zoom in when I'm already in macro, so that's about as good as it's gonna get. And so just get a little dab of paint down. I think I'll work on some reds and silvers. How good is my cleaning water? Should be okay. So yeah, these are I've been working on these for a couple days. I've had them for a lot longer than what I should have, but this is the kind of the color scheme that the customer wanted. Originally he was looking to have just this top part gold, but since there isn't really that much gold on the model, I figure I flipped it and would put more gold in the helm or the crown part than just the crest. So that's kind of what I decided to do. Get a little dollop of water here so I can keep my brush wet. So yeah, not much as far as for color scheme really. Just silver, some red, black, black touches for the boots and gloves. Now what I'm doing for the boots, originally the boot the customer had, this is the model I'm supposed to kind of follow a little bit. So the boot has, if I can get in focus, the boot here is pretty much all black except for the silver front, which is good. I like it, but what I decided to do is put more of the black part as a sleeve that goes over the boot, and then putting a red bottom to it, just to kind of give a little bit more detail instead of just a solid boot. And I like the way how that's turned out. So yeah, so like I said, I haven't been able to put any battle reports on in a while. Well, I think I missed like 2 weeks worth, and that's because I'm experiencing some car problems, and so unfortunately I don't have the money to fix my car right now. So where I go to play Warhammer 40K is a pretty good distance away from me. It's almost a 20 to 45 minute drive, depending on traffic and which way I go. So yeah, what is there to really talk about? Well, since I gotta take the bus into work now, I've been getting in a lot more exercise, because I do about once I get off once I get off the bus, I have roughly about a half-hour walk from my bus stop to my work. So sorry, I got a brush in my hand right now, finding a rogue cat hair in here. Now I didn't start the painting on these models. They were brought to me halfway completed, and basically what I'm doing is just going over over everything, and then just trying to touch things up. And that is pretty much it. So yeah, get to walk about half hour each way, so there and back. So I've been getting in some pretty good exercise. I can notice it now in the mirror that I've been losing some weight, so that's not too bad. And but work's been kind of crappy. It was crappy for the last 2 weeks. So I work in printing, and I had an order that was out for approval and was out there for a while. I asked about it a couple times, never heard anything about it, so then I kind of just forgot about it. Figured that sales would get to me eventually when the customer would approve their stupid artwork. And then of course one day the salesperson goes and says, yeah, this stuff here can go with the other order for the client. And I'm like, well, I never got an approval for the artwork I set up, so I haven't printed it yet. So then we were scrambling trying to get a white ink job printed on our machines at work, and unfortunately white ink is pretty subjective to how white is white when it comes to all the types of printing machines out there. But we couldn't get the material to cooperate, and when the only way I was really able to get the material to work, I had to lower the heat down on my machine so the heads would stop hitting the material. But then the problem with letting the heat down is that the ink didn't dry fast enough, and when it rolled on to itself on the core that we had set up for a take-up reel, because I had to set the job up to print over the weekend. So I had to have a take-up reel pull all the material onto a core so we could unravel it the next time I got to work with it. Unfortunately, like I said, the ink wasn't drying, so when it rolled onto itself, it ended up sticking. So pretty much all that stuff I ran was for nothing, because it didn't work for us. So yeah, that was kind of crappy to find that out over the weekend, that I lost all that time. So what we ended up doing is, since it was supposed to be just white ink, we decision on my part, I says, well, we'll just cut vinyl it. And that's what we ended up doing, is we cut vinyled the whole entire white for this window display that was going to be used. And so that was still a lot more work for me, but we managed to get it done in time. But put everything else behind that I was working on. So being behind on everything else, it just took me a lot. It took me basically almost 2 weeks to get caught up, just because of that one particular case of not getting the approval from sales to start working on the other job. If we had more time, maybe I would have been able to figure out what was causing the heads to hit the material, but I wasn't given much time to explore that. So yeah, such as it is working in a print shop, nothing ever seems to go right for a production artist. One of my constant complaints, and I even done a couple of videos about it, is like, it's amazing. 20 years in printing, and customers never seem to get any wiser to the fact after I've been in printing for 20 years. And like one of the most common things that graphic designers or non-graphic designers do is they provide artwork for printing that's supposed to bleed, but they never provide the bleed material. So it's just a pain in the butt. It's like, this is 20 years of dealing with that, and it seems like every Yahoo just doesn't know how to do it. And that kind of like, it ticks me off too, because it's like you get some graphic designer who spends nowadays like $80,000 for their education, and they can't frickin' provide a bleed for their bleed designs. Maybe it's just out of just being lazy too, because most printing will use a PDF workflow. So a customer may save their artwork as a PDF when they submit it to be printed. And there's one step in that process when you save as a PDF or export as a PDF, is that, at least for the Adobe products, is that you can add crops and you can add bleed. But whatever reason, people seem to forget that one part and click on the add bleeds. Sometimes if I open up the file in Illustrator, I can often tell that sometimes they have the bleed material and I can crack it open. But sometimes I can't do that if there's no fonts provided with the file as well. So if I don't have the fonts, it's kind of hard for me to open up the job in Illustrator and correct the graphic designer's mistake. And really not providing a bleeding material is a huge mistake, because either there's only like two options, and I've mentioned this before. Either we enlarge the image to the size, over the size that the customer is asking for, and then we cut it down for the bleed, or we just print it at size and then cut into the artwork, making it smaller. I tend to do the later, because I figure if a customer is just too lazy to make a bleed file for their print job, and then, you know what, it's going to get cut smaller. And it's like, the thing that sucks too is like the place that I work for, the customer service and sales, especially sales, they have no balls in confronting their customer to tell them that their files are wrong. So even if I tell the salesperson that there's something wrong with their customer's file, they won't convey back to the customer saying that production needs a new file from you, or production needs you to outline your fonts, production needs you to do this. It's like they won't do it because they're just too freaking afraid to make waves with their customers. And I don't know, I've never been that way. I've never been that way with my customers. I'll nicely tell you that you screwed up. It's like, well, how come it's not the size? Well, you didn't provide bleed, so I had to cut it smaller. Stuff like that. So, what else is there? Not much else to really talk about. We're halfway through. I figured try to do about 30 minutes worth. What else can I talk? What else can I rant about? Because usually that's the easiest stuff to talk about, maybe while painting. Ranting. Well, we just got ourselves a new latex printer, an HP 1500. I guess the rumor is that it's like around $150,000 printer. So definitely prints a lot faster, that's for sure, because it's a latex, and then it has a heat drying system that helps accelerate the drying. So by the time it gets onto the take-up core and rolls onto itself, it's already been pre-dried. So it's pretty much dry once it gets past the enclosed chamber. So that's pretty cool. And we've printed a couple jobs that would have taken longer on one of our other machines, and had it done, what would take probably the whole day, we had done within like 3 hours. So that's a huge difference using the latex machine. But this thing is a freaking pain in the butt to load and unload paper. And yeah, it's just horrible. Problem with HP is that their research and development's all done in Spain, so they probably got quite a few short Spaniards working on this project, and so they're a lot lower to the ground compared to us Minnesota Anglo-Saxons, you know, who are standing 6'3", to bend all the way down to lift up those cores or core of paper. It's kind of troublesome. We have a lift that helps a little bit, but it still doesn't really make the whole project any easier. So yeah, that'd be one nice thing to have built into the latex machine, is to have some kind of paper loader. Now, when I was working for Target in their labeling department, at the time they were using these rolled sheets. They were like almost 300 pounds, and so there's like no way you could lift that up. You can manhandle it and move it around, but in order to load it up to the cutting device, the cutting device had 2 cores on the outside, and it would push into the core of the paper, and then it would lift it up. That'd be something nice if they could build that into like one of those large latex printers, you know, and just have something that's automated that can load the paper up. Of course, you're looking for more expense in doing that, but you know, an employee's back isn't as much to worry about, as opposed to spending another couple $500 for an automated loader system for HP printing device. So yeah, that's the new toy. We also have an Osage, Arizona flatbed, and both our employees that run that machine called in sick. So I was trying to be helpful, and when I was setting it up to run some chloroplast. Now I've never run the machine before, so it was on the go training here, and got the heads all nice, clean. The test prints are coming out great. Used the caliper to size up the media on the flatbed, and everything's good. Sent the first job to print, and my the print drive, the device that has the print heads in it and stuff, of course the guard ends up hitting the media. Somehow I had entered in too low of a number for the thickness of the material. I wasn't, either I read the caliper wrong or I wasn't using it right. And when I used the caliper again, of course, then I found that it was a lot larger. It was like 4 millimeters, I think. And so I had reset that, and then of course I checked the heads, and when I was trying to print the material, it was all fuzzy. So I don't know what I did. The heads all look good. The heads print fine. It's just that there was something that was making the image print fuzzy, and I just couldn't figure it out. So hopefully in my trying to help print some jobs, I didn't really screw up the machine. Won't really know until tomorrow, when hopefully the employees that called in sick are available to have them take a look at it. We already have a service call on the machine to we have this particular machine prints white ink. It's an Osage Arizona 500 XT. So it has a white ink option, but the white ink wasn't printing good, so we were going to get new heads for the white ink and have those replaced. So at least we already got, as soon as the parts come in, which was supposed to be today, they didn't come in, but as soon as those parts come in and we call in the service tech to put those in, hopefully he can fix that problem too, if none of the other employees in production can fix it. So yeah, felt real bad about that, but once I realized there was nothing in my experience to rectify the problem, I went back to doing my jobs and getting them done. So yeah, printing. I really like the trade. Don't really like where I work, just because it always seems like I'm dealing with all kinds of screw ups when I'm there, especially sales. I don't understand, how can you be in business as a salesperson for as long as these salespeople have been and not know squat about printing? That's the part that really annoys me. You would think even after being in the sales business long enough and printing, you would catch on to some things, but these people, they just don't care. They really don't care. And I've told a few salespeople, hey, your customers, they are always designing their stuff for bleeds, but they never provide bleeds, or they never have their artwork to scale, and we're always enlarging them, and of course they're not proportionate to the scale. That's another thing about printing too that really, got 8 minutes here, that really chaps my hide, is I get jobs from customers who design their thing in an 8.5 by 11, or what would that be, A4 for your European folks, be an A4 size, and then they want to have it enlarged to 11 by 17 or an A3 European size, and of course it doesn't proportionately scale correctly. So then you gotta call them back and say, your artwork doesn't scale to 11 by 17 correctly. And then you get the reply of, well, why not? And I go, well, because you got your artwork designed at 8.5 by 11. 8.5 by 11 doesn't scale to 11 by 17. You have roughly about, I measured it once, I think it's like almost a 2-inch difference in height, give or take. So yeah, never gets boring, that's for sure. So yeah, I'm just trying to these guys, they have kind of a red coat already, more of a kind of a burgundy mauve type color, and even though I know that my customer had pre-based these in colors, but I like a little bit brighter models on a table than dark models. And personally, I think if you're painting bright models, you're not trying to hide anything. You're not you're not trying to obscure the detail or lack of detail in painting by having the models all washed in a dark color so you can't see nothing, and then not going back to highlighting it. You know, that's just trying to hide stuff. So I think models should be bright, show off the detail, help accentuate the details by having the models painted bright, and also so you can see them on the table too. See a lot of models that are so dark that they blend right into the crappy terrain sometimes. So yeah, got 5 minutes left here, folks. I kind of like these guys that are standing just because you get to see the gun a little bit more. So I just put a brown on the gun. I'm gonna have to go over the silver on some of these, and I don't really know what I'm gonna do as far as for like these guys, they got a lot of these cables going around, and I don't know if I should paint them a different color. I was thinking going black, but then that's too easy to paint black. I thought maybe going with more blue, but I think the blue is supposed to identify the unit, so I don't think I should be using blue then. Could use green. That would really clash with the red. Well, not clash, because red and green are supposed to complement each other apparently, if you know your color scales. I never paid attention to that part in art class, but yeah. So I have to try to figure out what I'm going to do with the chords. If I'm going to paint them black, green. Just haven't really figured that out yet. Hopefully I can get these guys done by this Saturday. Kind of told the person that I would try to get them done by Saturday, and then maybe can come and get them and then give me a ride somewhere. So see how that works out, since I don't know, like all the bus routes that we have here in Minnesota, they all head downtown. There's like nothing that goes from like where I'm at northbound. I have to go southbound into downtown and get another route that goes back north. So I have to kind of figure that out on how to get to where I want to go. Looks like I can we have rail lines now, so they go all the way into Big Lake and St. Cloud, I think. But one of the rails also goes all the way up to Anoka. But then I'm paying a little bit more money and using that rail. So yeah, that's another thing. Since my car is not working, I've been taking the bus in, and taking the bus is more expensive than what it was driving my car. Because when I would drive my car, I only spent about $12 in gas, and that includes going up to that includes the 20 to 30, 40-minute drive going to where I play Warhammer on Sundays. So I'm only popping in $10 a week for this. Now when I'm taking the bus downtown, it's $2.50 to get down there and $2.50 to get back. So I'm spending $25 a week taking the bus in. So, I mean, not only that I don't have the money to fix my car, but now I'm paying an extra $15 a week just in travel expense isn't going to help. So once I kind of realized that the bus alternative is way more expensive, really kind of made me unhappy about that. So yeah, I hope I am able to save money fast. Unfortunately, it looks like it won't be till tax returns when I'll have the cash to get the car fixed. Because what's wrong with the car is I have a manual transmission, and I think it's the clutch that went out. So the clutch itself isn't that expensive. It's only like $110 for the part. The problem is you gotta take off the wheels, you gotta drop the axle, you gotta drop everything that's basically attached to the engine in order to get the transmission off, so you can get at the clutch to put the clutch in. So it's all labor, and so I just don't have the tools to do it myself. It's cold now, so trying to get that done out in the cold cement, tar parking lot would be kind of tough. And then, like I said, just not having the tools won't make it any easier. So unfortunately, I gotta try to save up cash for that and get that fixed, and then be able to play some more 40K games again, and role playing and stuff like that. Because I also GM a Rift role playing game. I was doing it every other Saturday, but unfortunately I wasn't able to make the one Saturday because of the clutch issue. So, alright folks, seems like I rambled enough, ranted, got you kind of caught up to date to why I haven't been posting any of my battle reports. So also I haven't been posting battle reports either because I've been playing quite a few 500 to 1,000 point games, and I myself don't find the 1,000 point games all too interesting, so I don't record them. So that's another reason why I haven't put up much for battle reports, because I've been playing a lot of the smaller point games. So alright, we got like another 25 models to go here with some red. I kind of jump around back and forth so I don't get overly bored. But yeah, thanks for tuning in. I don't know if I'll do another vlog or not, but just thought I'd put something on the YouTubes for you. Thanks for watching.